Hello, welcome to StrangePlay. I'm Simon.
I'm Rik.
And today we're going to be talking about a game called AER Memories of Old. I'm actually quite excited for this, Rik.
You should be.
So what's it about? What is it?
AER is probably the most pleasant gaming experience I've had since Journey.
Wow.
You play as a girl called, I think it's Orc. It's spelled A-U-K.
Right.
So it's probably Orc. And she's on a pilgrimage to find 3 pieces of this medallion to basically save the land. Because the old gods have been forgotten and there was an event that shattered the world.
Right.
So all these islands are just floating in the sky. And it's just fragments of the old world create these different floating islands. And there's this ancient evil that's coming back. He's going to do something and you need to stop it by collecting these 3 pieces. And that's it. It's just simple fantasy story and it just sets you on your way.
I've been keeping my eye on this, and the easiest way I could explain it from what I've seen is it's like Flower crossed with Journey.
It's Skyward Sword crossed with Journey.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a better comparison. The flying from Skyward Sword, yeah, that's spot on.
Yeah, and it's such a beautiful game. It's so beautiful. Like, it's kind of simple, like really just block colours and kind of like polygonal shapes and stuff. But it's so effective. And
it's stylish, isn't it? It's stylish.
Yeah, it's so stylish. And the music is just wonderful. It's just kind of happy and just nice. And whenever I play it, I just feel happy.
Yeah, it sounds, from the little bits that I've heard, it sounds very warming. Like it's very like fulfilling music. Yeah,
it is. And it's so easy to play as well. Like, there's no combat in it at all. It's just exploration and puzzle solving.
Right.
And because the world is built up of islands in the sky, you have to fly between them. And to do that, you change into a bird. Like, you press X to jump, and then when you press X again, she just transforms into a bird. And it is such a smooth transition. And it's so quick, and it's so smooth. And as soon as she finishes transforming, she's already gliding at a really good speed.
So there's a nice adjustment between the control systems.
Yeah.
From being on foot to being aerial.
Yeah, and when you're flying, the controls are so good. It's just really responsive, really just nice. Like, you press square to flap your wings, and that speeds you along. But you can use the shoulder buttons to bank left and right if you need to do quicker turns.
Here's a question that'll apply to the people that are like me. Can you invert while flying?
I think it's already inverted, because I'm like you, in that, when you're flying, down is up.
Yeah, yeah.
And I had no problem flying. It just felt really natural. And something that I think's wonderful as well is when I first started, the camera was too sensitive for me. I was like, no, I don't like this. So I thought, well, fuck it, let's have a look. And I went into the options, and you can change camera sensitivity.
Nice.
So I'm assuming that you can change other things in there as well, because if it's got camera sensitivity, it's probably going to have invert as well.
Yeah, yeah. For the people that are wrong.
Yeah, for all the people that are backwards, they can change it.
So tell me about these islands. Tell me about the worlds.
Well, the map isn't huge. There's 3 dungeons that you have to visit, and each dungeon contains a piece of the artifact that you're looking for, right? And to get there, you have to travel to the other islands. So there's an island that has people on it, and they'll sort of say, oh, if you go to the west, there's this place. So then go to the west, and then as you're flying, you just see things in the area that you're meant to be at.
Right.
But they're in such a way that you go, oh, I wonder what that is. And you'll go down and have a look. And to get into the first temple, I needed 2 keys. And no one tells you where they are. It's just, oh, in this general direction, there's some stuff you need to do.
Yeah, it's gently pushing you by making things visually interesting on the horizon.
Yeah, but the key points that you need to go to, there's a beam of light coming out of them into the sky.
Right.
It's not bright enough to be intrusive, but it's just dull enough that you can notice it. So if you're flying around, it will catch your eye, and you're like, oh, alright, and then you head towards it, and you're like, oh, this is where I need to go. But apart from the dungeons, there's just loads of other things on the islands as well. Like, there's no collectibles per se, but there are scrolls and like tablets and stuff that you can read and get more backstory and find out what's happened to the world and, you know, what's gone on, and just it builds more of the world for you.
Yeah, is that their purpose, to provide lore?
Yeah, and it's really interesting. And something else as well that I think is great is if you do want to collect something, the trophies are some of the most fun and just best trophies I've seen in the game.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yes, I do. So you've got your hidden trophies, which are standard, like they're for your story missions, I suppose.
Okay.
So they don't tell you what to do, but they unlock naturally. But you know how a lot of the time where you're collecting stuff and you need to do this and go here, that the trophy will be like a fucking riddle or something.
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay, well, that sounds complicated. This one is literally find this. Find this. It doesn't tell you where it is, but it just tells you what you're looking for.
Right.
And when you're exploring the islands and just flying around, because you know to look out for these things, something will catch your eye and you'll be like, oh, hang on. And then you'll go, and it's awesome. You know, it helps make you want to explore, because they're not obscure clues for finding stuff. It's just, oh yeah, see if you can find this really cool thing on our map.
Yeah, get a trinket for it to attaches to your gamer profile.
Yeah, and like I've never played a game before, and I've got 6 trophies left on this one, and I finished the game, and I'm really looking forward to actually going back into it to find these other things.
Yeah, to go digging, to go rooting.
Yeah, so that's something that's really cool as well.
So tell me about the dungeons.
So there's 3 dungeons, and each one has a piece of the artifact, and they're pretty big. I mean, you go in, and because there's no combat or anything, it's just puzzles.
Right.
But like environmental puzzles. So there's a lot of like switch pulling and, you know, stuff like that. And there's no map and there's no compass or anything. So you've got to fend for yourself and figure out how to get around and everything. But they're really well designed, and they're big enough to be interesting, but they're not so big that they ever become a chore. You know what I mean? Like, they're not too empty and just boring to be in.
They're the right size. They're not daunting, but they don't feel cramped either.
Yeah, and the puzzles range from like obvious switch pulling and stuff to the not so obvious. But because of the design of the dungeon, there was times where I was running around and the most I've spent lost is like 5 or 10 minutes. And then I'd notice something and I'd be like, oh, that's a clue. And like everything you need to do the dungeon is in the dungeon.
Yeah, it's right under your nose.
Yeah, all you got to do is just look for it, just explore. It's constantly just nudging you to explore and find things.
Do the puzzles make you feel smart, or are they like trivial?
They're just trivial.
Right.
They're just there for something to do, because otherwise it'd just be running and that'd be it. But it's nice when you start seeing the mechanics work and you do feel that you're progressing while you're doing it.
I think there's something to be said for a simple puzzle sometimes.
Yeah.
How long is it?
It's not long. It's not long at all. I think it took me around, I want to say 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
So it's not a long game, but from start to finish, it was just a complete joy to play. Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah,
it sounds it. So, who would you recommend this game to?
Just people who like life. You know? If you're a fan of that game company's games, so Journey and Flower, great examples. Rime, I was getting Rime things, a little bit of Ico in there, a little bit of Last Guardian, you know, that kind of just feel to it, that kind of arty feel. And Skyward Sword, you know, it's a great, the dungeon designs would make Nintendo proud. So just, if you just like solid adventure games where you can just sit down and enjoy it, then definitely play there.
The pros, what would you sum the pros up as?
Just everything.
Everything.
Everything
it's
is
just
a pro.
Perfect. Is there any cons that need bringing up?
The only issue that I had with it was that the camera was too sensitive, and I sorted that out in the first 5 minutes.
You basically squashed the only problem that you had with it.
Yeah.
So this question's pretty much redundant, but would you recommend it?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
As I've already said, AER is one of the best gaming experiences I've had in recent years.